Stop donating to politicians, any politicians. This is what we've been saying on Friday and Leftists for how long now? Ever since the inception. This is what we've been begging you guys to do. Stop donating to politicians. As my friend Ashley just accurately pointed out here, we've all seen local orgs and people doing the work, helping people with food drives, humanitarian aid during hurricanes. Donate to them instead. This is such a great point, and this is exactly what I've been telling people. Like, we have Finney. She's building a working class coalition of tenants right now, trying to prevent the eviction crisis from getting worse. So why will you donate to? Why will you donate to Nina Turner, for example, who paying the salary of Jeff Weaver?
Anybody?
I talked to the panel.
Yeah, don't donate to anyone. And those two tweets do go together because building community is important. I'm so glad to speak with Afeni because I really enjoy her tweets and I really like the work that you're doing. And I'm so proud and I'm glad that you're doing this. So when I say build community, we can tie this into the conversation we had earlier about mutual aid and what exactly mutual aid is and politically educate people. So building community does start off with just saying, hi, my name is Ashley. I live 2 doors down from you. I just want to introduce myself and just say, if there's anything you need, whether it's a ride to work or you need some groceries or anything like that. Hey, I have a little garden in the backyard. Are you okay with me dropping off any extra things that I have, right? So that is building community. Get to know people in your area. If you can't do that, because let's say you're stuck in the house, you can still build community online and social media circles as long as that community are doing things and highlighting and maybe donating to other mutual aid orgs. Afeni does a really good job with that. If you're in the DMV area, One DC is also really good. They have things that I'm a part of them. I donate to them and I join the meetings every time I can. They usually have something every Thursday. They talk about a right to housing, food insecurity, right to work, right for a living wage. I know that they're fighting against the eviction moratorium too. Join organizations. If you don't know one, Google it or just tweet out, hey, I really want to focus on housing. I really want to focus on food insecurity and what you can do. There are a lot of people in Chicago that are building just refrigerators. And I'm gonna back up and say, what is mutual aid, right? Because a lot of people think mutual aid is just giving people money so they can get out of jail or they can buy groceries. That's not mutual aid. That is just crowdsourcing. You're just crowdfunding. You're giving people money, right? Mutual aid would be making sure that you're uplifting the collective, right? So if you live in a food desert, you can take your neighbor to the grocery store, which is good, but maybe building a community garden so everyone can benefit would be just a little bit better. That's the difference between mutual aid and then just donating money, because that's just, like I said, I just forgot the word I just said. Sorry, I'm having a brain fart. But that's a little bit of the difference. Giving people money so they stay in their house and they don't lose their apartment, that's crowdsourced funding. Mutual aid is getting together with people to make sure that people have permanent housing in low income areas. Mutual aid would be going down to your local homeless shelter and working with the city or working with other people to come together, maybe buy some land or fight the city Congress people to make sure that there's adequate housing. So mutual aid covers a collective and it covers a community, and it's diverse and it's multifaceted. That's completely separate than just crowdsourcing. And I think a lot of people don't kind of understand the difference. So they think, oh, I gave this person $25. I donated to this mutual aid. That's enough, because it's not. And you can go further. And then there are people who don't have the financial ability to do that. But what they can do is they can donate their talents and services. Let's say you are a math teacher and you're really good at that, right? Mutual aid for you could look like going into an underserved community and giving free math tutoring to that community, right? You don't make a lot of money. I mean, you're working class, you don't have a lot of money, but you're a barber. Mutual aid could be giving people haircuts and setting up a day where people who live in a certain community can get free haircuts. Working with your local YMCA that says every Tuesday and Thursday from the hours of 10 to 12, any and everybody can come into the YMCA and take a shower, right? That's mutual aid. Giving money to one person so they can shower is more, like I said, that's just crowdsourcing. So we really need to get to the heart of what mutual aid is. And we really need to tap into that, because um that's how you build community, and we look out for each other. And it's just not one singular thing, it's everybody, because there isn't just one food desert in this country. There isn't just one failing school. There isn't just one community that can't eat. There are a lot of communities, and mutual aid is coming together and ending that. Giving people money is like Johnny is saying, it's just charity. And we need more, like I said, mutual aid of coming together and really addressing people's needs, the community needs as a whole, and helping more people, not just each individual person.
Yeah, that
Sorry if
was
I was babbling,
no,
but
that's such a great and very detailed explanation, actually,
yeah.
and I appreciate that. I remember I even floated the idea. I was joking, but I do this all the time. Where I say I guess my role in the revolution is to provide martial art aid training, mutual aid, because I can teaching your comrade how to defend yourself.
Yeah.
That's a form of mutual aid. That'd be my I used to coach.
Especially if you're doing that for free. There are a lot of women who could benefit from learning some self-defense moves. And if you have a studio where you're like, okay, every Wednesday from 5 to 7, any woman that lives in this community, and then starting community programs in those underserved community, getting in those buildings help, because the taxes pays locally depending on how your state is set up. And this give people, what they need. Afeni is doing really good with her mutual aid things. I've noticed that.
Yeah,
So
we did
she can
get Penny in
plug and
there
talk
too.
more about mutual aid from her standpoint. But honestly, stop giving money to these politicians. They don't need your money. It's not helping you in any way. Your money will go a lot further having a little, donating that money to start a little library, or packing book bags full of things. Or every winter I get together with people in my area, wherever I happen to be living, because I relocate pretty often, and we pack a pack for the homeless people for the winter. That means buying socks, buying coats, sleeping bags, all of those things. Get together with people, do that, and hand it out to people who are in need. That's what you can do for mutual aid. It does not always have to be monetary, unless you're taking those funds to buy resources for other people. But I don't ever want anybody to feel like whatever they're doing isn't enough and it isn't valuable. And that if you're not donating a certain amount of money, then you're not as valuable as someone who's
Great
donating
point.
their time. Any and everybody can participate in whatever way that you can.
I'm
You
so
just
glad
got
you
to do
said that.
something. Take whatever talents you have. Yeah, do the martial arts thing and teach people's basic self-defense.
That's such an important point, because there's a lot and this is mostly the deeply unserious people that do this, the whole ego thing, where they're like, oh, I'll do more than you, or why didn't I do this? And we are in such a struggle in right now. We need everyone to do what they can, because there's a lot of like ableist vibes to that, because not everyone's gonna be able to like host like crazy amount of mutual aid events, and there's always more that everyone can do. So we can't get hung up in that. Everyone need to do what they can to make the life of their neighbors, their brothers and sisters, easier than it is right now. I want to get Finney's thoughts on this topic, and then we move on to the next one. Finney, you got anything you want to add to this mutual aid discussion?
Well, the first thing I want to say is read Mutual Aid by Dean Spade. Go ahead, get your education, because Dean Spade really lays it out. Truly, a lot of people focus on one issue. A lot of nonprofits focus on one issue, and that's on purpose. It's so to make sure that we're not building solidarity. So if you are somebody that can start a mutual aid or some type of radical organization in your neighborhood, it's because you're willing to focus on more than just one issue. It's because you're not willing to succumb to the nonprofit industrial complex. It's and one thing I really do want to add to what Ashley was saying is the Black Panthers also had medical clinics. They had acupuncture sites. They were teaching people how to do acupuncture just in the ear and do ear seeds to relieve anxiety, depression, drug addiction. They were doing those things. And before they got shut down by COINTELPRO and all other stuff, they were very successful in teaching and expanding that program. So there are other things that you can do, other than just being, out here giving food to people. Like, yes, I feed people. That's cool. But I don't have I don't have the special skill to give people medical care. I don't have the special skill to teach people math. I don't got that. Can I possibly go into some schools and teach some, Black history and things, social studies? Yes. But there are specialized things that we need in this movement. mutual aid is a bridge to the better society that we want to see. So when I think of mutual aid, I think about it being something that can be fully impactful. So I see it meeting every basic need of a human being, so that we can focus on organizing and focus on getting to that better society, because it should be the government that is funding this shit. All of your tax dollars are being paid to this government. They take that shit without you asking. Social Security, all that shit, they take a shit right out your check and they give it to whatever the fuck they want to give it to. And then we end up spending $300 million in Afghanistan. We end up giving $3 billion to Israel. We end up bombing fucking Somalia. That's what we end up doing with that money. You see what I'm saying? So mutual aid is reinvesting your money into something that's actually sustainable for your community, and to understanding that in order to build a social revolution, we have to do mutual aid, because mutual aid is a vehicle in which our social movements actually move forward. When we meet people's material needs, then the working class people can actually have the time and the privilege to organize. Before that, motherfuckers are working 3-4 jobs. You see what I'm saying?
and that wears people down. And when you can meet people's needs, they have time to be politically educated and to read things. When I tell you, like when my sister was furloughed, I had to work from home. We were both in the house for 3 months. We had nothing but time. That's why I was able to move to the left so quickly. And I just want to make sure that I reiterate what Afeni said. It does build the bridge in any and everything you can do. You have people who are contractors. If you have extra lumber and you know that there's a community where there are older people that may need some work done to their homes, or you know, like, oh, there's this neighborhood and those houses are really run down and I know people live there, right? Let's say they're older people. These aren't landlords. These are individual homeowners, right? Maybe people can't mow their lawn and you own a lawn company. You go to your community and you go in and you fix people's houses. You don't charge them for it. You just say, you know what? If you, in the summertime when I was in South Carolina, so a group of people and I was a part of the atheist community that was just doing work, just good work for people. And one of the things that we did was every summer we went around to low income areas, people who didn't have complete HVAC systems, so they didn't have central air, and we installed air conditioners, window units, right? So do that. You know that every summer there are kids who are just out of school, and we know that kids, if you're not doing the work over and over, they're going to forget things. Hey, you're a writer. You're really good at English lit. Donate your time to help a group of kids who may need some extra tutoring. So there's literally so much you can do. You can literally build that bridge to make sure people are okay. So when I say mutual aid and community, that's what I want people to do. Really tap in your community and meet the needs of people in general.